Welcome to the channel, Darkness in the Night. Before the story begins, let me remind you one more time. Everything you are about to hear is entirely fictional, created solely for storytelling purposes. However, it may make you look at the familiar streets of Saigon at night with a very different feeling. My name is Nguyen Minh Quan. If you ever saw me in real life, you probably wouldn't remember me. Just an ambulance driver in a faded green uniform, my body always carrying the scent of disinfectant mixed with old sweat. But on some nights, even I'm not sure whether what clings to me is only the smell of my job. That night, Saigon was drizzling, not heavy rain, just enough to make the asphalt shine, reflecting dim yellow streetlights like bottomless pools of water. The ambulance moved slowly along Ha Hoi Jop Street, its tires grinding against the wet road with a sharp squeal, like fingernails scraping across glass. Inside the vehicle, the air felt thick, the smell of alcohol, rubber, and the damp odor of old stretchers blended together into something hard to describe. To outsiders, it would be nauseating. To me, it smelled like a boundary, the place where the living and the dying accidentally touch. The call came close to 2 in the morning. The voice on the other end was brief, trembling like someone who had been cold for a long time. My grandma can't breathe, number 42. Ha Hoi Jop. That was all. Then the line went dead. I glanced at the man in the passenger seat. The dim light inside the ambulance cast shadows over a face that looked far more wrinkled than his age. That place again? My throat went dry as my hands tightened around the steering wheel. He didn't answer right away. The ambulance kept moving, unhurried, as if deliberately stretching out the road. Yeah, that place. His voice dropped low, heavy with exhaustion. House number 42 on Ha Hoi Jop didn't look like the others. It sat far back from the street, hidden behind a tall iron gate rusted in patches. Weeds grew wild, soaked by rain, brushing against my pant legs as I stepped out of the ambulance, ice cold, like someone grabbing my ankle. The gate wasn't locked. A gentle push made it swing open with a long creak, sending chills down my spine in the stillness of the sleeping neighborhood. None of the surrounding houses had their lights on. Only this one, on the second floor, glowed with a pale yellow light, weak like an oil lamp about to burn out. The old wooden staircase groaned under my feet. With every step, dust drifted down, carrying the smell of rotting wood and long-standing dampness. When I reached the second floor, a long, narrow hallway stretched ahead. At the end of it, a door stood slightly open. Before I could speak, a frail, hoarse voice came from inside the room, like someone who hadn't spoken to another human in years. "You're here, Quan." My heart felt like it was being crushed. I froze. My mind went blank. I had never told anyone here my name. Inside the room, an elderly woman sat on an old wooden bed. Her back was straight, her hands neatly placed on her thighs. The yellow light revealed a deeply wrinkled face, cloudy eyes staring at me without blinking. "Ma'am, you're having trouble breathing, right?" My voice trembled as I struggled to stay calm. She smiled, a toothless smile that made my scalp tingle. "I'm not short of breath. I'm just waiting." The room grew noticeably colder. I exhaled and saw a faint mist in front of my face. Behind me, there was a soft sound, like someone stepping into the room. "Are you done yet?" A low, irritated voice came from the doorway, a silhouette standing there. I turned around. Do you see her?" Cold sweat ran down my spine. The man at the door looked straight into the room, then back at me, confusion in his eyes. "See who?" When I turned back again, the bed was empty. No blanket, no pillow, no sign that anyone had been sitting there. Only the lingering smell of old incense, thick and bitter, filled the room. I stood there, frozen. My ears rang, drowned out by the soft patter of rain on a tin roof somewhere outside. "More than 10 times already," he sighed, his voice frighteningly familiar. "Every time. It's the same. I didn't ask anything. I didn't dare to." As we reached the yard, just before stepping out through the gate, I heard a whisper behind me, so faint, like wind slipping through leaves. "Next time, remember to come a little earlier." I spun around. The hallway was pitch black. The second-floor light had gone out without me noticing. As the ambulance pulled away from that house, I glanced into the rearview mirror. On the second-floor balcony, a figure stood perfectly still, watching the vehicle until the red lights disappeared into the rain. And in that moment, I understood something that sent a freezing chill down my spine. That call probably didn't come from the living. That night, after leaving house number 42, I didn't go straight back to the station. The ambulance moved slowly along Ha Hoi Jop Street. The rain had eased, but the road was still slick, reflecting the headlights into long, distorted streaks, like stretched human shadows. Inside the vehicle, it was completely silent. No one spoke, yet I could clearly feel it. Something was still with us. I opened the door and stepped out in front of the duty station. The wind rustled through the trees, and a faint scent of incense drifted in with the breeze. It wasn't the smell of freshly lit incense, but of incense that had burned halfway and gone out, sharp, acrid, stinging my nose. I stopped short, my heart pounding harder than usual. "Do you still feel it?" His voice was low, subdued, as if afraid someone might hear. I swallowed hard and scanned the dim parking lot. "Yes, I do." My voice was hoarse, my throat tight. The man beside me sighed. It was a heavy sigh, like something he had been carrying for years. "Then you're suited for this job." I didn't know whether that was meant as encouragement or warning. In the days that followed, I started noticing more strange things. When the ambulance passed a roadside shrine along National Highway 1A, I heard whispers mixed in with the traffic noise. When we stopped at a red light near midnight, I saw figures standing close to the curb, heads bowed unnaturally low, only to vanish when I looked again. I told myself it was just lack of sleep, but smells don't lie. A faint metallic scent, like old blood mixed with rainwater, would occasionally drift through the cabin. The second call from that house came just 3 days later. The phone rang at 1:47 a.m. My grandma can't breathe." The voice trembled, breaking apart. Same number, same voice. I stared at the phone screen. My heart hammered as if it wanted to leap out of my chest. Should we go?" My hands were ice cold, sweat beading on my palms. A long silence followed. Outside, the rain began to fall again, tapping against the metal roof of the station. "We go." His voice was firm, but heavy as stone. "If we don't, it'll keep calling." This time, the house was darker. There was no light on the second floor, only pitch-black darkness swallowing the entire yard. As I stepped inside, I could hear my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. The staircase still creaked, but the sound seemed to echo longer, unnaturally drawn out. The second-floor hallway was freezing. The air felt thick, heavy with dampness and the smell of old incense, making my stomach churn. The door at the end of the hall stood wide open. Inside, the old woman was lying on the bed. This time, she wasn't sitting. She lay on her side, facing the wall, her back hunched sharply. Gray hair spilled across the pillow. I stepped closer, my legs weak. "Ma'am?" My voice dropped to a whisper. "Ma'am?" She slowly turned her head. Her face looked the same, but her eyes were wider, hollow. as if staring straight through me. "You're late, Quan." Her voice was sad, drawn out. I opened my mouth, but no words came. My throat burned, dry as if filled with sand. "They left me here, a long time ago. No one remembers anymore." Behind me, footsteps stopped at the doorway. "What do you see?" His voice was low and urgent, his breathing heavy. She's lying on the bed." My hand trembled as I pointed forward. No reaction, no reply. When I turned back, the bed was empty, but this time, there was a clear indentation in the mattress, as if someone had just been lying there. The old yellowed sheet was soaked with a dark stain stretching from the pillow downward, like water, but carrying a faint metallic smell. "See?" A whisper brushed right against my ear. "Icy cold." I spun around. No one was there. "I can't leave. As long as you can hear me, you can still see me." I backed away until my spine hit the cold wall. My heart raced wildly, my ears ringing, and in that moment, I understood she didn't need an ambulance. She needed someone to listen. Down in the yard, just before we left, I noticed an old incense bowl on the steps, its ashes long extinguished. Beside it lay a small black and white photograph, the edges worn and torn. In the picture, the old woman stood in front of this very house, and behind her, faintly visible, was a figure wearing a black traditional shirt, holding an oil lamp. As the engine started, I heard a very soft voice, drifting out from the house, blending with the sound of rain. "Next time, make sure you take me all the way." And I knew then, the next call wouldn't be just about trouble breathing anymore. I couldn't sleep after that. It wasn't the kind of insomnia that comes from exhaustion. Every time I drifted off, I was back in that second floor room, seeing the empty bed, the deep indentation still pressed into the mattress, those cloudy eyes staring straight through me. In my dreams, the smell of old incense clung to my throat, burning, making it impossible to breathe. By morning, I still had to report for duty. In daylight, Saigon looked far more harmless. Ha Hoi Jop Street was packed with traffic, people rushing to work, the familiar mix of street cries, horns, and curses. But every time the ambulance passed through that area, a chill ran down my spine. House number 42 in daylight looked like nothing more than an abandoned home, doors shut tight. Weeds overgrown, untouched. No for sale sign. No official seal, as if it had never existed on anyone's records. By afternoon, I couldn't hold it in anymore. "Hey," I hesitated, avoiding his eyes. "That house, what's really going on with it?" A long silence followed. The rattling fan in the duty room sounded unusually loud. "You really want to know?" His voice dropped, rough and low. I nodded. "That woman, she died over 20 years ago. Died alone, no children. The neighbors said when they found her, the body was already bloated. No one dared go inside." I swallowed hard. My throat burned dry. "Then, who keeps calling?" "No one." His answer was firm. "Dispatch checked. Every time the number shows up, it's an old internal line, disconnected a long time ago." I sat there, stunned. My hands felt ice cold. At first, we thought someone was playing a sick joke. Later on, every time we went there, someone new would see her. And then that person quit. I looked up. "Quit, how?" He didn't look at me. "Some changed careers. Some went back to their hometowns. Some, after a night shift, never came back again." He didn't finish the sentence, but I understood. That night, the phone rang again. 1:52 a.m. I stared at the screen. The same old number. My heart pounded so hard it hurt. I can't answer anymore. My voice shook as my hand clenched tight. You have to. His voice was low and absolute. If tonight doesn't end it, it won't let you go. The ambulance drove through heavy rain. It was worse than before, pounding against the windshield like hundreds of fingers tapping non-stop. When we arrived, the gate of house number 42 was already open. No need to push. In the yard, the second floor light was on. I climbed the stairs, my heart racing. This time, I didn't hesitate. I walked straight into the last room at the end of the hallway. The old woman was sitting there. But she was different. Her skin was paler, almost transparent. Through her faint outline, I could see the wall behind her. She looked at me, but there was no accusation left in her eyes, only exhaustion and endless sadness. "I'm so cold, Kwan." Her voice was weak, like a passing draft. "I've been lying here for so long, no one knows." I knelt down. I don't know why. My throat tightened. My eyes burned. I'm sorry." My voice broke. "I don't know what to do." She reached out her hand. It didn't touch me, passed straight through. Icy cold. "Take me away. Just get me out of here." Behind me, someone stopped quietly. "Who are you talking to?" His voice was low, tense. I didn't turn around. "I see her." My breathing shook. "She wants to leave." A heavy silence followed, then a sigh. Then, "Do it." We pushed the stretcher into the room. For the first time in my life, I watched someone with no physical body lie down on it. The stretcher sank as if pressed by invisible weight. The room grew colder, a thin mist fogging my glasses. When the ambulance started moving, I heard soft breathing behind me, slow and steady, like an old person sleeping. As we passed through the gate, the lights in the house went out. Inside the ambulance, the smell of old incense faded, replaced by the familiar scents of rain, wind, and exhaust. I glanced into the rearview mirror. The stretcher was empty, but this time, I wasn't afraid. "Thank you." A distant whisper drifted through the air. "I can go now." The next morning, when we returned, house number 42 had been sealed off. Neighbors said someone had come during the night, cleaning the place out and carrying away an old urn of ashes. No one knew whose it was. I thought it was finally over. Until the next shift, when the ambulance turned onto National Highway 1A. And the internal phone rang. The other end didn't speak. There was only soft breathing, exactly like what I had heard in the ambulance that night. And in that moment, my heart went cold with the realization. Not every spirit is willing to leave, and not every call comes from just one house. After the incident at house number 42, I thought I had gotten used to it. Used to the smell of old incense. Used to sudden chills in the middle of hot weather. Used to hearing sounds that others couldn't hear. I was wrong. Some things aren't meant to be gotten used to. They're meant to be endured. That night shift started out normally. District 12 hospital was brightly lit. Its hallways filled with the smell of disinfectant mixed with patient sweat. Outside, a light rain fell, pooling on the ground and reflecting the flickering neon signs. I sat in the ambulance, adjusting the rearview mirror, trying to shake off the heavy pressure that had settled in my chest since sunset. The internal radio rang at 12:31 a.m. Overpass on National Highway 1A. "There's someone standing outside the railing," a young woman's voice said urgently. Traffic roaring in the background. I started the engine. The ambulance surged onto the road, the siren tearing through the rain. National Highway 1A at night was nothing like daytime. High streetlights cast uneven halos of light, with thick darkness pooling between them. Wind slipped through the door seams, carrying the mixed smells of exhaust and warm rain, sharp and stale. On the overpass, a man stood with his back to us, both hands gripping the railing. His shirt was soaked, clinging to his back, Beneath him, traffic streamed endlessly, the roar rising like a raging sea. "Hey, can you come down and talk for a moment?" I spoke slowly, forcing calm into my voice. The man didn't turn around. His shoulders trembled. "Don't come closer." His voice was hoarse, breaking. "They're down there, calling me." I took another step forward, rain slapping cold against my face. "Who's calling you?" My eyes tightened, my heart racing. "My wife and my child." His voice caught, on the verge of tears. "They're dead, but every night they come back." A strong gust of wind swept through. Suddenly, I caught a faint metallic smell, like old blood. Under the streetlights, I saw shapes beneath the bridge. Among the moving traffic, figures standing near the curb, motionless, looking up. I blinked. They were gone. "Look at me." I lowered my voice, slower now. "If they really came back, they wouldn't want you to do this." The man broke down. Rain and tears streamed together down his face. I dozed off. His shoulders shook. A truck slammed into us. I lived, they didn't. Silence stretched out. Only rain and engines remained. "Come down." My voice softened. "Once you're down, we'll find another way." After a long time, he finally released the railing. When he turned around, his eyes were bloodshot, but the wildness had faded. We guided him into the ambulance and wrapped him in a blanket to keep him warm. On the way back to the station, he sat quietly, staring at the floor. Every night they stand at the foot of my bed. His voice was drained. They don't say anything, they just stare. I didn't reply. I knew that feeling. 3 months later, I received a letter. The handwriting was shaky. The paper creased. He thanked me. He said he had gone to their graves to apologize. Brought flowers. Lit incense. Since then, he could sleep again. I finished reading, feeling a slight easing in my chest. But it didn't last. The next call came from an old hospital. Not the active hospital, but the abandoned building in the back, left over from when the place had been a labor camp. Even during the day, few people went there. At night, no one wanted to talk about it. "There's a patient who cut himself," a young man's voice said. Trembling. "He says someone is crying inside the wall." When we arrived, I saw the gray building standing alone. Broken windows, pitch black inside, a heavy stench of dampness poured out, mixed with rusted metal and a sickening metallic odor. Inside, a young man crouched in the corner. His neck was scratched raw, blood seeping out. His eyes were wide, fixed on the wall in front of him. "They're in there," he whispered, breathing fast. "They can't get out." I pressed my ear to the wall. At first, there was only the sound of wind. Then, something faint, like fingernails lightly scraping, mixed with muffled crying, low, dragged out. "You hear it, right?" His eyes were desperate. "They're calling me." After he was taken away, I returned to the area with a security guard. We found a small door crudely sealed with bricks. When we broke it open, there was a narrow room inside. On the floor lay old human bones, mixed with rotting bandages. No records, no files, as if they had never existed. That night, when I returned to the ambulance, my hand still carried the cold, damp smell of the wall. I opened the door and sat in the driver's seat. Before starting the engine, I heard a whisper very close, right behind my seat. "There are many more." I didn't turn around. I knew that if I did, I might see something I wasn't ready to face. The ambulance rolled away from the old hospital. In the rearview mirror, the building faded into darkness. But the feeling of being watched didn't disappear. It followed me all the way back, clinging to every breath. And I began to understand, what I encountered at house number 42 was not an exception. After that night at the abandoned hospital, I knew one thing for certain. Nothing was going to stop anymore. Once someone hears a call from the other side of the boundary, that door never fully closes again. My final night shift in District 12 began with an unsettling stillness. There was no rain, no wind, the air was so motionless it felt suffocating. The streetlights were brighter than usual, but instead of bringing comfort, their glow only made the shadows beneath them feel deeper. The phone rang exactly at 1 a.m. No number appeared. "Hello," I said quietly, my heart beat strangely slow. The line stayed silent for a long time. There was only steady breathing, so faint that if I hadn't focused, I would have thought I imagined it. "Kwan," an elderly, weary voice finally said. "It's time." I hung up. My hands were ice cold. "You heard it, didn't you?" My voice was hoarse, my eyes fixed straight ahead. The man beside me didn't turn. I did. "Tonight is the last night." The ambulance rolled toward National Highway 1A. But not the overpass, not a hospital, not a nursing home. It turned onto a dimly lit side road leading to an empty riverside lot, where a massive chain reaction accident had once killed many people, then been buried and forgotten. There was a small shrine there. A shrine for wandering souls. Incense sticks were jammed everywhere. Ash scattered across the ground. The air was heavy with incense smoke, the damp smell of river mud, and a faint metallic scent I knew all too well. When I stepped out of the vehicle, my legs suddenly felt heavy, as if something were holding me back. "Do you see them?" a whisper asked. Barely audible. I nodded. Around the shrine, figures began to appear. No clear faces, no defined shapes, just faint shadows standing close together in silence. None approached, but all of them faced us. "They've been following you for a long time," he said calmly. "Since that house." I stepped forward toward the shrine. My heart was pounding, but no longer chaotic. I pressed my palms together and bowed my head. "If I can see you, if I can hear you." My voice trembled but stayed clear. "It's because I was close to you at the end of your lives. Not because I wanted this." The air shifted. A light breeze rose, sending incense ash drifting. "We just want to be remembered," many voices overlapped, low and echoing. "We don't want to be forgotten." I swallowed hard, my throat tight. "I'm not keeping you here. I only help you move on when it's time." A figure closest to me stepped forward. Familiar, wearing a black traditional shirt, holding an oil lamp. "You did the right thing," the voice said, slow and deep. "But not everyone should stand at this boundary." The figure turned to someone behind me. "It's time." Before I could understand, a hand rested gently on my shoulder. Not cold, not warm, just heavy enough to be unmistakable. "You can stop here," a low voice said close to my ear. "I'll take it from here." I turned around. The streetlight revealed a familiar face, but the eyes were different. Calm, impossibly calm. "You," my throat tightened. "What about me?" "You're still alive." A faint smile appeared. "You still have things only the living can do." The shadows around the shrine began to fade. The wind grew stronger, then stopped completely. Only the shrine remained, incense burning evenly, smoke rising straight up, no longer circling. When I opened my eyes, I was sitting in the ambulance. Morning light streamed through the windshield. The passenger seat was empty. No one had ever been sitting there. I quit my job after that night. Now I do something else. I no longer drive an ambulance. I no longer work night shifts. But sometimes, late at night, when I pass along National Highway 1A, I still see an ambulance moving slowly behind me, no siren. Yellow lights flickering. Sometimes, I hear very soft breathing right behind me. And I know that boundary still exists. I'm just no longer standing there. But if one night you hear an ambulance stop in front of your house, even though you never called, remember this. Some ambulances don't carry the living. And some people hear the call only because they once answered it. This is where the story ends. Once again, please remember, everything you have just heard is entirely fictional, created solely for storytelling and entertainment purposes. If you felt a chill, or a lingering sense of unease, that is exactly the spirit darkness in the night aims to deliver. If you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to like and subscribe to join us on many more dark nights to come. Thank you for listening. Sleep well.